Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic bushings are in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me on today's episode is Jimmy, back in the studio, because I don't think anybody noticed, but we won't tell anybody.
Was I not allowed in the studio for a second?
No, we kicked you out for the last episode.
Oh.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so welcome back, man.
Thanks.
How are you?
I appreciate it. I'm good. Things are good.
Yeah.
I just want to go out there and say that we're the number one Toyota podcast.
We are, absolutely. And we're going to start suing people for defamation when they start listing themselves as the number one Toyota podcast.
Especially when somebody hasn't released a podcast in like a year.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, if only we had some like Toyota trucks or trails that we could go on to talk about more Toyotas with.
Yeah, I know. Or even a Toyota company that runs a podcast that we're above.
Anyway, shots fired.
Yeah.
Way to start the episode with a good defamation lawsuit, Jimmy.
I know, right? I'm ready. Come after us.
Oh, man. No, how's life been, bud?
Busy. Not as busy as the busiest weekend that I've ever had, but this last week was pretty busy and didn't really do a whole lot of truck stuff, but had good family times. So. Oh,
nice. That's good. I was going to say, did it have anything to do with Snail armor?
Well, Snail armor's doing pretty good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Business is up a good amount, a fair percentage. I hope it stays there.
How's the new Pew Pew working out?
Ooh, the new laser.
Uh-huh.
New laser's nice.
Yeah.
I'm still learning
Does
more
it suck
about
better?
it. Now it does.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last time.
A little bit. And I rearranged ever so slightly. I'm still playing with rearranging my shop to fit that. And I bought those shelves a while ago. Mm-hmm. And I think I might take them out.
the Husky ones or the pallet racking?
The pallet racking ones.
Oh.
I think I might pull them out and try another rearranged idea.
Gotcha.
To see how things lay out. Just because, I don't know. It's sort of backwards for me to say this because Snail Armor makes more money than the YouTube channel, right? Mm-hmm. But I have Snail Armor shoved in a corner. Right. And it's not a whole lot of room. And Snail Trail 4x4, the YouTube stuff, I have spread out throughout the shop, and I still want to keep like a bay open in the shop so that I can drive a truck in and out of to do work, especially out of the sun nowadays. And to do that, I have to shove Snail Armor in the corner, and that's sort of silly if you think about it, because Snail Armor is making more than...
Nobody puts baby in a corner, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the long run. So I'm trying to figure out the best solution to create a good workflow in that little corner that I have. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm thinking about moving the shelving out because it's sort of there's a wasted volume of space in that shelf that I think I can condense a little better with another layout.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, I think that, but the new laser is nice. The new sucker is great. I set it up and out of the way, up kind of where the other one blasted out the window before, and it's quiet. And I have it set at like 3/4 speed, and it's so it's quieter than max speed, but it's now pulling more air out of there.
I was wondering. So when you were talking about, when I saw the pictures. Of the fan, the blower setup, right? Yeah. It started making me think because you were talking about having it quiet, and I was like, well, what about those air fans that use electromagnetism to move air rather than a fan to move air? I wonder what kind of
the air? Dyson ones?
Yeah. I wonder,
don't know if they move enough air.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, would they move enough air to make it work? Then you'd have a perfectly quiet suckage.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work. I think most of the noise is coming from the air moving more than the fan.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Okay. But I mean, that thing. Why it was funny. The first time I set it up, I like stretched the what do you want to call that? The exhaust
the tubing.
That's like a corrugated, right? You know, I set it up in the shop on which the shop's floor slick to some extent. And I set it up on there and I cranked it up to max volume, and it was sucking so much that it was shrinking the accordion tube. It was pulling itself backwards towards the machine.
It was creating a vacuum? Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a restriction in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Which maybe is...
air input on the laser is not big enough to...
Yeah. And so everybody says to go in there and cut out all... because it's just like a 6-inch diameter thing that has a bunch of holes drilled in it. And they say to cut all that out so you can get better flow.
Yeah.
Plus it goes from 6 inches to 8 inches. So maybe there's a restriction there also that's causing it. But anyways, I haven't cut that thing out yet. And so I was going to figure that out. But I did zip tie it to the pallet racking way up high by the window, so it's not pulling itself anymore. And I don't have it on high anymore. I have it at like 3/4.
Gotcha.
So, but it's nice. And the new laser is nice. It's nice to be able to slide things in on the side so that, well, sideways on the machine. So the machine is 24 by 36. So I can etch 36 inches long now.
Yeah.
In one go. Which on the other laser, on the previous laser, your laser,
move it around.
I'd have to move it 3 times, maybe 4 times to get something that's 36 inches long.
Yep. There's so many points here where I've wanted to stop you and make a comment, but I'm just biting my tongue.
Good.
I'm sitting here I'm being a good boy.
You're growing up. Finally. 301 episodes in and you're
not really. I'm
maturing.
I'm just learning time efficiency rather than wasting time making stupid comments.
But time efficiency would not put me on a track to talk about lasers when this is a truck podcast.
Oh man. Anyways, where I wanted to go with all of that was the tribal design that you just did.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That one looked good.
That looked great.
So it's the, oh man, I'm probably going to ruin it. I think it's the Filipino flag.
Oh, really?
The stars and the design.
Okay.
And then it was the tribal layout. But the guy sent me that design. Like as it was, and then I just created it.
Just blew it up.
Yeah, I blew it up and created it for that panel, or took the JPEG that he sent me and turned it into a usable file for the laser. And then, and he actually found, he's like, put my name under it. And I was like, well, what font do you want for your name? That's the biggest problem with like this scenario of laser etching for people. They go, yeah, add my name on there. And I add a name and they go, I don't like that font. I'm like, please go out there.
They don't like papyrus?
Yeah, right. I've never used papyrus on a panel.
I saw you just literally, Jimmy just like visually cringed when I said that.
I threw up a little in my mouth. So I literally send them I go to this website, type in your name, and then go and choose a font. And I don't say this, but it's like, don't come back to me until you figured out a font. Because I'm not good. I don't want to try 40 panels, 40 different fonts on my end, for you to figure out what font you want. It's like, go figure out what font you want, come back to me, and then I'll get that font and put it on the panel. But yeah, that's a pain. But he found a tribal font also.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so it was very thin lined, and so I had to take it and make it a little bit so there was larger gaps in the font.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, the tribal, you
didn't have to take it and make it thicker?
No.
Okay.
No, I made the gap thicker though.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice. How much? I think we have one of those on the soundboard somewhere.
Do we? Not how much. We don't have that one.
And we have a very nice, or high five. That's what
we
it
have
was.
A high five.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
High five. We need to get more Borat sound bites.
Would be good.
Nice. Yeah, that turned out really good. I'm excited to see more of those come out and see kind of what more interesting designs you could do now that you can laser 36-inch thing all at one time.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of nice to, I did one for these guys. It was Northwest Rigs, and they have this really long design, and I was like, well, how large would you like the text on the panel? And they're kind of like, I don't know, like 15 inches, or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, well, how about, I think 17 would look great, They're like, oh, okay, you can go that, like, yeah. That's only like half of my machine.
Right? Oh yeah. Nice. So, yeah, we're looking at, now that we're kind of getting used to having the laser here and in the warehouse, the Morphlate laser, doing some interesting things with the manifolds in the future.
Oh, fun.
Little teaser for people out there.
Ooh, some custom manifolds.
Possibly with a couple of meetups here at the warehouse. So,
heck yeah.
So it could be some fun ideas that we're playing around with. We'll tell more about those as we get there.
Get closer. Yeah, I was talking to you about possibly making some specific meetup stickers. You know, for like, oh, we're going to PNW Overland Expo. Let's make some Snail Trail Overland Expo Northwest stickers. Yeah. And just so that if we see people and we're handing out stickers to people, that's, you know, we can track some people by the stickers they have on their rig.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of going up and people are like, hey, nice to see you again. You're like, oh, you're at Overland. Oh, yeah. It was good seeing you at Overland Expo last year. Oh, man. Anyways, back to the podcast. Thursday episode.
Yes.
So we get to talk about what we've been up to. We'll get to that in a little bit here. We have been kind of putting up the studio a little bit more.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, it's starting to look good.
Well, next week, since I got my leaf spring back, thank you. Next week, I'll try and bring down the busted one so we can hang that somewhere on the wall. You
mean the beautifully good, ready to go leaf spring?
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Just like your Instagram post is.
Oh my God.
I love how that's confusing everybody.
Right? I'm actually getting really kind of concerned about humanity thinking that I purposefully did that as a mod, purposeful mod to the leaf spring.
What did your caption say?
The caption said, snapped in half leaf spring pack plus 18 rods of 7018 equals masterpiece.
Okay.
And it was the audio that said, you know, I don't want to count things before they're finished, but this is a masterpiece or whatever that is. And there's a ton of people commenting on there saying, why would you do this to leaf springs?
Right.
Why you just ruined the spring rate.
Yeah,
those aren't going to flex anymore. Blah, blah. You can't use those as suspension. Those are just going to break right away. It's like, those aren't going to last 5 miles on the road. And I'm just like, dude, what do you guys, what?
Yeah. 1, you probably didn't read the caption. 2, you don't follow the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. 3, you haven't seen any of your other content in regards to it. So yeah, it's funny.
Reading through, there's over 300 comments now on that video. It's got about 700,000 views now.
Jeez.
10,000 likes. And just the comment thread alone is gold. Like, I've just started baiting people now at this point. I'm
sure.
There's one person that's arguing with me about carrying welders on a trail. And they're like, why would you carry a welder? Why don't you just carry spare parts? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Because if I carry a welder, I don't need to carry spare parts.
Yeah. But I literally, I think that they think I carry like 2 Miller 251s or like two Lincoln Rangers or something like that. And I'm like, no, do you know
and
what
I run my generator also to run those things.
It's just funny. Like, if you guys are looking for some entertainment, go find that video with the welded leaf springs on my Instagram account. 4x4 Toyota Tyler. I don't know. It's like a week and a half ago. And just go read through the comments. They are hilarious.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
You posted something up in our chat on a text thread.
Yeah.
And then I started scrolling further down to read what was going on. It's funny.
It's pretty good. It's a good solid like 20 to 30 minutes of entertainment for you. So
yes.
Oh man. Anyways, yeah, we've got some things coming out here this month with Ironman 4x4. So if you guys did not listen to episode 300, go back and listen to episode 300. They are still running their sale. I think for just a few more days here for 25% off pretty much site-wide. And they talked a little bit about details on that in that episode, that interview with Chris and Luke with Ironman 4x4. So go check that out. We also have the 270-degree Delta Wing awning that we're giving away this month. So in order to get signed up for that...
You have one more day.
One more day? Nice.
No, this is a Thursday episode. You have like 5 more days.
Yeah, 4 or 5, something like that.
5 more days.
So go make sure you signed up over on irate4x4.com. Up at the top of the website is a little button that says support/donate. And that's where you find the sign up for Snail Trail 4x4, the giveaway $10 tier, or you can do annually at $120. So one or the other, either one you choose will get you into the giveaway for the Delta Wing awning from Ironman 4x4. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I've been like popping mine out on the trailer in my driveway.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, how did it work at Overland Expo West?
It worked fantastic. It offered some great shade in my driveway.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
In your driveway.
Well, we'll get to that a bit later in the episode. So anyways, definitely I'm super impressed with it so far. Go check it out over on their website if you want to see a little bit more details. I'm also going to be posting some pictures here probably yesterday from when this episode was released. So go check out 4x4 Toto Tyler. We'll also get Snail Trail as a collaborator on that post so you guys can see it on the Snail Trail platform as well.
Cool.
But yeah, a few more days to get entered for the Delta Wing awning. Make sure you guys do that before the end of the month.
Yeah, $10 off before the end of the month.
Yeah, $10.
Or $10 and you get a free awning.
Yep.
Or you can use their 25% off discount code if you don't want to wait.
Exactly.
You can get it right now.
Yep. 25% off, and that's
a few $100.
That's like $300
Yeah.
off of the awning right now. So
That's massive.
it's pretty damn cool what they're doing. So go check them out over at Ironman4x4America.com. They got a lot of really cool stuff on the website. Just peruse through it for a little bit. I think you'll be quite entertained. Let's see. What else do we got going on here, sir?
Well, we still need to get Boroha the knife.
Yeah, I
see
at
that on
the
the
other day.
table. Sorry, Boroha.
Yep. And we need to get Matt Gardner a welder.
That's true. Yep, it's down there underneath the awning, actually.
I thought I asked Borja about that, and he said he would just pick it up next time he comes up to Sacramento for the his Rubicon run.
Yeah, but who knows when that is.
Right? And I'm
I mean, yeah, we could save ourselves a few bucks.
Yeah, I'd rather just get this to you, buddy, so you can use it.
Yeah.
And then Matt Gardner, I think I don't know. We just need to, I guess, coordinate. We were getting coordinated with him last week, but then the interview with Ironman 4x4 kind of got in the way. Yeah. So I need to reach back out to Matt. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think we got too much else.
Do we have reviews?
Oh, we do have some reviews. Let's get into a couple of those. All right. So we have 384.
Oh, we're getting close.
Getting close to the 400 mark. What happens at 400?
We give away a swag pack of random stuff that we have laying around in the shop or in the warehouse or the studio. One or all of those.
A combination of all of the above. Yeah, there's some really good stuff here. Yeah, we got a bunch of stickers. We got some hats, some T-shirts, some other little goodies.
Some old elk.
We're
not giving that away. What are we kidding?
Oh, speaking of.
Oh, what?
I think I have Lee's bottle of Old Elk, which I need to get back to him.
Yes, you do. I remember that.
I was unpacking when I got home, and I was like, what is this? I was like, we came home with an extra bottle of Old Elk. And the secretary was all, yeah, didn't we bring that? And I was like, no. She goes, oh, it was on the counter. And I was like, we're not the only people there that drink Old Elk. Right. She goes, oh, okay. Well, it belongs to somebody else then.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It was just one of those. You guys were in a haste of packing up, and she pretty much stuck her arm out and shoved everything in a bag.
Good job.
But yeah, I asked, or Lee or somebody that next morning was like, hey, do you know where that bottle of Old Elk is? I'm like, I think Tyler took it. It was right next to the wine that he brought.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like, oh, okay.
Sorry, Lee. I'll get that back to you, buddy.
Yeah.
We haven't opened it yet, so it's still there.
Was it not opened?
No.
Oh, that's embarrassing too.
Right? I was like, man, we got an unopened bottle of Old Elk here.
We didn't really, I mean, now we're way time traveling, but we didn't really hang out at the house that much.
We didn't like at all. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Not like last year. We actually hung out at the house more. Mm-hmm. But like Dimitri and his crowd always went out at night. Mm-hmm. We were at the studio or at the stadium or stables or whatever.
We were doing the Cruise Moab activities each night.
Yeah. And so we weren't at our place that much at all. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Anyways,
we still drank though.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. We have some reviews here for everybody.
Oh yeah. That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. The first one here is from A Ferris.
A Ferris.
A Ferris 32 says free entertainment. I've been listening for roughly a year now. These guys produce some quality content for being Toyota guys. I don't know if that's like...
That's an insult.
Okay, good. I'm confused there on that one, whether it's an insult or not.
That we create quality entertainment even though we're Toyota guys. He would expect less and
right.
more rev limiter.
Gotcha. Well, we can steal Whalen Wine and Whiskey's soundbite. So I particularly enjoy the episodes about land use rights. Oh, cool. Well, you're in store. And when they talk about their Toyota's braking. Well, hey, you're in store.
That's every episode.
Yeah. So thanks for the review there, Ferris 32. The next one, I actually know this person, is from Cassidy Yod.
Hey, Cassidy.
It says, great podcast. Love it. That was it.
Oh,
short and sweet.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Cassidy.
Thank you.
I wonder if she actually listens to the podcast.
I don't know.
That's essentially one of the secretary's best friends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, I wonder if she listens to the podcast.
Probably not.
And then rats me out when I'm bagging on her.
Maybe.
Or if it's...
That's the secretary's plan. She's like, I don't listen to the podcast.
But I expect my friends to tell me.
But my friends listen to it so that when you talk ish on me,
yeah,
then I hear all about it.
Right. Next one is from Petty 11111.
Did he win?
He did win. So I'm guessing this is his winning review.
Was it Eric? No. Who?
Patrick Eddy.
Yeah, that's right.
Petty. Yeah, he won one of the swag packs. I think it was the 350 swag pack.
Yeah, he won the first one, the one and only one, really, that's gone out.
Because 6-string truckers doesn't got to us.
No.
He says, they will never know I drive a Jeep. No, sir, it's not a Jeep JK. It's a new FJ. I don't get it.
I don't know either.
Next one. First gen wife. You know who this is?
No.
It's probably first gen Mike.
Oh.
First gen Mike's wife. Oh no. First gen Forerunner Nashville's wife. First gen Forerunner's Nashville's wife. That's the full name of it. Jeez.
That's not who we were thinking.
Yeah, that's not who we're thinking it was. 5 stars to Tyler and Jimmy for an easily understandable and interesting 4x4 podcast. Being married to a Forerunner fanatic means listening to the show on the way to our many adventures to the middle of nowhere to buy 4x4 parts. I have learned many things like what a ham radio is, the many tricks on installing Toyota parts. Not that I install them, but I'm pretty good at identifying parts now to hand to him along with beer, of course. Off-roading trails and being able to empathize for the secretary and assistant. And yes, I was asked to enter a review for a winch drawing entry. LOL. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everybody that listens.
100%. So thank you for the review there. And yep, you got another entry for the hubby for the winch. But, I feel like you should just keep it for yourself.
Yep. You should get your own Forerunner.
Exactly. Yes. And last one for today is from CLC Ski.
Do you know who that is?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. How do you know like almost everyone? CLC Ski?
Yeah, that's his Instagram handle.
Nope.
Clint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Clint Cunliffe says, good stuff. He's the Mr. Backdoor.
Yep.
Clint, I hope you are very proud of your nickname, Mr. Backdoor. It says, good stuff. Wish they were a little less Toyota focused, but these guys actually wheel and have great tech, trail reviews, and communication content. Mad respect for them being out there doing it and not being posers. Well, Mr. Backdoor, as soon as we get Jeep and Jimmy on the show here in a more permanent fashion, we can get some more Jeep content for you. Because I know that's what he's looking for.
You're going to get Samurai James on the podcast?
We're gonna maybe. That's Jeep and
James.
Rhonda. That's Jeep and Rhonda.
Is it Rhonda's rig?
That's Rhonda's rig, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's keeping Black Betty apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the one with the Toyota axles under it.
Essentially the Toyota, yeah. Mm-hmm. So oh man. So yeah, that does it for reviews today. Thank you everybody for writing in. Mr. Backdoor, let us know when you're coming up on the Rubicon. Oh, I think he did tell us. He does a Rubicon trip every single year, so I wanted to make sure that we run into him out there on the trail yet again, like we did in the previous years.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, we probably have forgotten those dates, so let us know again.
Yeah. So cool, man. That does it for reviews. We got no voicemails.
Okay.
And I think we've done all the housekeeping.
Sounds good.
Cool, man. So what have you been up to with your busy weekend?
Well, it was a fun weekend because for the most part, we didn't have the mini assistant. And this is one of the first times in a while that usually when the mini assistant, let me back up here. Okay. Usually when the mini assistant is at her father's house, I know that I'm a little bit more free to be able to travel.
Okay.
Because
Gotcha. I was like, does that mean you walk around the house naked more? Like,
well, that as well. But I'm more free in general free to travel.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mainly because it's nice to have both parents there when the mini assistant's around, just to deal with the mini assistant's craziness.
Gotcha. So playing good guy, bad guy, good cop, bad cop.
Just giving one parent a break for a little while.
Okay.
And when the mini assistant's at her father's house, I see it as an opportunity kind of to go get away, and travel or go somewhere or go on the, wheel or work longer hours, at, in the shop or something. Where this weekend I didn't really have a whole lot planned.
Okay.
And because I was supposed to be at Overland Expo West.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what that's like?
No, not at all. Don't know what you mean.
So I didn't have anything planned, but the assistant had a few things in the back burner planned. One of them was this thing that's a global 6K for water event.
Okay.
And I posted a little bit about it on my personal Instagram, but it more or less what it comes down to is in developing countries, the person averages 6Ks to go get clean water, 6K round trip.
Oh,
to go get clean water.
Jeez, that's the average?
That's the average somebody travels to go get clean water.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and so it's raising awareness in regards to that. And so it's this global event that you go out wherever you're at on your own and, wear the shirt and you go walk or run 6Ks.
Okay.
And so we did that.
Nice.
It's something that the assistant has been doing for years, but this is the first time that I've actually partaked. And so we went and we found this spot, and it just happened to work out great because we drove to downtown Roseville, and there's a really good hiking, walking trail. It's paved like in bike trail in Roseville that cuts pretty much Roseville in half.
Okay.
And we went out. So 6Ks equates to like 3.6 miles, right?
Okay. 3.5 or so.
A little bit more than 3.5. Yeah, so around there, right?
Okay.
And so we found, and when we didn't plan this, but we were just watching our watches, and at our halfway mark, we ended up at a creek.
Oh,
and it was kind of like
interesting.
Yeah, it was really kind of fun. And so we took some photos by the creek, and we're at a halfway mark, and we headed back.
Did you fill up buckets of water?
Yeah,
and carry them
so
back
we did
now?
not fill like 5 gallons of water and start walking backwards to the car.
Man, you're not doing it right.
Exactly. I was cheating.
You cheater.
But that was fun. And so we did that in the morning. We went back, cleaned up, and then we went up to Skinner Winery, which we are members of. And they opened a new tasting room over in Rescue, California.
Oh,
so it's normal. Their normal spots out in Fairplay, which is like an hour and a half for us to get to, and the new spot's like 45 minutes for us to get to. So we were stoked. So they're doing their wine pickup. They were doing like an event. They had music and signed up times to go to, and then they had a food truck there that was catering the event as well. So we went and picked up wine there, drank a little bit of wine. Then we drove down to the Secret Ravine Winery, which is down in Loomis, and we had wine pickup there. We had wine waiting for us there for the most part. And then so we did our pickup there, did some more wine tasting, and then we went home back to the house and did a little bit of yard work, not a lot because it was warm. But we've been on a Lord of the Rings kick lately. So we've been watching the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. And we find that we can only watch them for like about an hour. But they're like 3 hours long each one. Yeah. So it's like we have 3 sessions to get through the first one. And we're like a little over an hour in on the second one. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, so that's what we did. That was our Saturday. And then Sunday was pretty low key. What did we do? You came over on Sunday. What did we do in the morning?
Yeah.
We didn't do a whole lot. I did a lot of yard work. I cleaned up the yard. Spring is in full force now. And so we have a lot of weeds and a lot of.
You're kidding? Summer's in full force now.
Yeah, summer's in full force now.
Yeah.
Just prepping the yard. I did some work in the backyard. It was mainly a honeydews day. We had some blinds break in the house. Like the cords broke somehow. Don't know exactly what happened. But so fix that. And that was a sort of a pain in the butt just because it was, we had to, like I measured the window went to Home Depot and it was a standard size. Bought it, brought it home, put it up in the window and it didn't fit.
That's not standard then?
Yeah. And so I took the tape measure out and measured the window again. And there's one spot in the window that comes in like half an inch. Like it's not like it like bows. But they just framed it wrong or the stucco, or plaster or whatever they did on the inside is just bigger, so the top fit, the bottom fit, but there's a section like 2/3 of the way up that's narrower than the rest of the window. And so I had to go back to Home Depot, get the blinds cut down, which is actually a really easy process. I didn't know how simple. You just take it to them at Home Depot. They have the cutter, and so I just walked right in and I said, hey, I need this chopped down 1/2 inch. And the guy's like, how would I do 1/4 inch on each side? I was like, perfect.
Yep.
I didn't even care. Not anybody would notice that the one side's 1/2 inch shorter than the other.
Yeah.
And then they like set the blinds up in the machine. They square it off so that everything's going to be straight. And then they have this like pretty much a skill saw, like what's it called? A skill saw on a pole blade,
Yep.
I don't know that there's a name for that, but I don't know what it's called. And so they just pull it and it comes, cuts through the whole thing. And then he spun it around. Oh, and he sets the stop at the certain length. So he just feeds it in and the wall that you square it up against is, for us, it was 1/4 inch, and so cut it off again. Yeah. And it was that simple. And then we walked out. So,
nice.
And then it went up fine. Yeah. That's
what she said.
Right. So I have a 12-volt Makita that I have had for years and years and years. And then when I bought my 18 volts, I never used the 12 volts anymore. Yeah. So I took the 12 volt over to the assistant's house figuring like one day there's going to be a honeydew that I have to use a power drill for. And that was the day. And so I plugged everything in and I started charging the batteries and the batteries are so dead they don't run anymore. Like, dang it. So I almost bought a whole nother power tool. But the neighbor, the one that had the fire, was home. The dad was home and he's got all the tools in the world.
He's a mobile mechanic.
Yeah, he's a mobile mechanic. Exactly. So I was like, hey, do you have a power drill and like a 1/4 inch drive bit for a Phillips screwdriver? And he's like, oh yeah. So nice. I got that and put it all up. But that was the hard part of Sunday. And then went and got the mini assistant. And then I don't know why, but every time the mini assistant comes home from her father's house, she's like drama mama. Like
drama mama?
Yeah. Okay. She's like 100% drama. If you ask her to do something, she has a meltdown. If we're planning on doing something that isn't in line with what she wants to do, she has a meltdown, and I don't know if this is true. I'm speaking out of my ass here, but I think it's because she gets her way 100% of the time, whatever it is at her dad's house. And she's somewhat accustomed to that. And then when she comes back to reality with us, and she doesn't get her way, she gets upset. So, and I'm not sure if that's the exact reason.
I do the same thing.
Or it might be.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. So usually we don't do, like when we get the mini assistant back, we don't plan anything that evening. Like, grandparents want us to come over and have dinner on Sunday night. Like, and we're like, no, like it's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah.
The mini assistant even cried, like got so mad. We went to the grocery store and we bought popsicles.
Okay.
The Mexican cool, wonderful popsicles.
Oh yeah.
And
they're like creamy.
Yeah, exactly. Those ones are so good.
They're awesome.
And we brought them home and we put them in the freezer. And then after dinner, she wanted to have a popsicle. And we said, okay, but we need to finish the popsicles that are there
Not get into the new ones.
And not get into the new ones until we finish the ones that are there. And she just blew up. Like, I don't like those. I never liked those. They're old. They're probably freezer burn. Of like, how do you even know what that is? And she literally ran down the hallway crying, threw herself in the room, just had a fit. And we tried to go in and like comfort her or talk to her.
Yeah.
And, pretty much put herself to bed. Like
nice.
She's like cried herself to bed that way. Like put her PJs on, got into bed. Like, I don't want to deal with you guys. Went to bed and we're like, okay, fine. Whatever. Cool. Like sometimes it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Besides
there's a great video of a lady walking through an airport and her kid is like on one of those harness leashes and she's just dragging the kid through the airport.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you've reached a certain point when the kid is you're just done with them.
Oh,
you're just like, okay, fine. You do whatever you want. We're still got to go do this.
There's a great skit done by, regardless of, the backstory of the guy, but what is Louis C.K.?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where he says, before you're a parent, you see a crying kid and you go, what a horrible parent.
Yeah, what did this parent do
do to that kid? Like, if I ever have a kid, I'm going to answer all of its questions and I'm going to be, super kind to the kid and I'm going to do everything I possibly can. And then once you become a parent and you see a crying kid, you go, what did that horrible kid do to that nice parent?
You go over and start coddling the parent.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for whatever that kid did.
Yeah. And it's really, sometimes it is that way.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm done with you. Like, go cry yourself to sleep in your bed after you have a meltdown that you can't have the Mexican popsicle.
Yeah.
Like, finish the 5 popsicles that are in there. Like, it'll be a day and a half. Like, you don't get any today, but tomorrow, if there's 5 and there's only 3 of us, you have the Mexican popsicle.
Well, the kicker to this is now you get to finish the popsicles, the old ones. Yeah. But if you finish them, then she's going to be pissed that she didn't get them and you didn't.
No, she won't. I went in. I don't know why, but with this, it's a good cop, bad cop situation for sure.
Yeah.
And she sees me as more of I don't know if she sees me more as the good person, or what, but I can always seem to comfort her a little bit more. I don't know why. But so I went in there at, and she's.
That's because you weren't trained through the infant years.
Yeah, probably not. She I sat down on the bed and she's like kicking me and she's like, go away, and I'm just sitting there whatever. But eventually I leaned over and I'm like, I'm going to finish all the popsicles tonight. So then tomorrow we can have the Mexican ones. And she turns and smiles at me, and I'm like, I'll do what I can. It's like, I don't think I could eat 5 popsicles, but anyways. And then let's see. So that was the weekend when I just did family things. But it was really nice to just sort of spend time with the assistant, just one-on-one. It has been a long time since, we've had that opportunity. But on Monday I did rip apart the rest of the T case. We went to Hussman's house, saw him, which if you haven't seen him recently, he looks way different.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
He doesn't have a beard and he's got his long hair.
Oh, that's gonna be great. I gotta see this.
Yeah. Okay. He looks he listens to the podcast, so he'll laugh at this. He looks like he did in high school.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the way it'd be like probably before he could grow facial hair, which, that's how he had it parted in the middle, flared out, a little longer, no facial hair. And I don't think I've seen that guy with no facial hair since high school.
Oh, really?
Like, it's been so long. Occasionally like he might shave it, but it's like the beard was too long, but I'm going to let it grow back or something, and it's like the next time I see him, he has facial hair again. But yeah, this time I was like, what the? I'm like, you look funny. He's like, you're silly or something right back at me.
Is it kind of like the difference of seeing your brother in college versus seeing him now?
Yeah. I mean, somewhat.
Yeah.
With his long hair.
Yes.
Yeah. The long hair is more of high school, but yeah.
Gotcha.
He did carry the long hair into college. Anyway, so I went and got the large snap ring pliers from him.
Okay.
So there's one snap ring on the T case in the middle of the T case that's just insane to take off. And it's super hard. And, all the snap ring pliers I had were just like a little bit too small, and even like stabbing screwdrivers in to try to make it work wasn't really working. And it still took me a while with the large snap ring pliers.
Yeah.
So but I did finally get that apart and took the whole entire T case apart. So now I've disassembled the crawl box and disassembled the transfer case. Mm-hmm. Was I saying transmission?
Nope.
Okay. The T case. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong.
Yeah.
Everything looks fine.
Huh.
It's insane. Yeah, I don't know what I was hearing or if I was hearing a noise, but I can't notice it because the bearings were loose, but they're still intact or something. So I contacted Marlin Crawler, and I'm getting a full entire rebuild kit. I'm getting all the rebuild kit for the T case. I bought all the extra bearings for the adapter plate and all the extra bearings for the crawl box. It was kind of interesting talking to him about the adapter plate because it is so old.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we've made a bunch of upgrades to that adapter plate since then. I'm like, hey, this thing still looks good and it's been running fine for I don't know how long. I'm just going to stick with it as is, you know? And he said, well, we make one of the bearings, we have like make a larger bearing there now. And I said, okay, well, if I want the larger bearing, what do I need to do to make this adapter plate fit the larger bearing? Yeah. He's like, you'd have to take it to a machine shop, have it machined out larger. And I'm like, once again, I think, you know, this series has been together for, I don't know how long. Yeah. And it looks fine. Yeah. So I think I'll be able to ride it, you know, run it again for another 10 years. And I think it'll be fine, you know, like we'll see. So, actually all that should arrive today. Nice. Which will be good because I got my lease ring back from you. Thank you. And now I should have all the parts for putting together the T case. So I should be able to slap together everything here in the next week or so. Nice. I talked to Hussman. Where are you going? Nowhere. I'm just trying to get it back together. Okay. So that if something does come about, like, cause the other day when the Tacoma Powered meetup was meeting at Hot Metal Fab, they're like, you want to come out? I'm like, I really don't have anything to bring. Yeah. You know, like I can't bring Bobcat. Like I can't drive it down the road, front wheel drive.
Sure you can with a ratchet strap links.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I just want to get it back together, but I was telling Hussman that I want to try within reason. I want to add the anti-rep bar that I have, which I've had on my shelf for like 5-6 years.
Do you have the kit or did you buy a fully assembled anti-rep bar?
I was handed down an anti-rep bar from another truck.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's going to be a question of if we can get it to work, if it'll work. It might need to be extended because the other truck was a single cab. Mine's an extra cab. I'm not sure how all the geometry on that works. But I do think the other truck was on 63s also. So the articulation might be the same. I don't know. We're going to look at it. And I also want to try to put in the 2-piece drive shaft.
Okay. Yeah. With the carry bearing. Nice.
And that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But I want to put my axle back into the place of where it needs to be instead of some weird awkward position if it's twisted a little bit. Yeah. So regardless, and I can't measure the drive shaft until I get the T case up. Yep. So I can't do the next. I mean, I might be able to put the anti-wrap bar up there without the T case, but I can't measure for the drive shaft lengths if the T cases aren't in place also. Yep. So I have to get those two together before I can do the next step, which that next step will take a few weeks. So, and if I have a wheeling trip, you know, in mid-June, yeah, I'm really on the borderline right now, whether I can go on that trip with a 2-piece drive shaft. Yeah. Now I still can put in my 1-piece. Yeah. So I can run, but if I want the 2-piece in by that time, yeah, I really need to jump on getting together the T case.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you got parts coming in today?
Hopefully. Nice. Fingers crossed. Yeah. I got a shipping notification from them on Friday or on Thursday last week. And then I got an updated shipping notification from them on Friday. Okay. And when I clicked on it, it said shipping label has been made, but nothing had happened. Yeah. And then, so I
know how that works.
Yeah. So then I looked at their shipping notification on Sunday and it was still, so they didn't ship it on Friday. And then I looked at it on Monday, or I got a notification from UPS that I should have a packaging arriving today. Yeah. And I looked on it and it had arrived at UPS finally. So it took them like 3 days plus the weekend to take the package from their facility to UPS, or for UPS to come and show up at a facility.
Yeah, it's
Speak-
go
Well, I
ahead.
don't want to talk about your dilemmas, but I went to Rough Stuff yesterday. No, sorry, I'm backwards. I went to UPS yesterday and I saw Garrett from Rough Stuff dropping stuff off.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it was fun we chatted with him for just a second, or because the mini assistant was with me.
Gotcha.
But chatted with him for a little bit, and he said, come by anytime, say hi to him and see what they're up to. But
Nice. I need to go by there tomorrow.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. I need to get U-bolts.
Yeah.
U-bolts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because we fucked up my U-bolts swapping out my leaf spring on the trail.
Oh,
in the
yeah?
lab, yeah.
Just ratcheting them in at a weird angle just to get them down.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, using the 1/2-inch impact when things weren't going together. We're just like, fuck it, we just got to get it out of here.
Nature's Loctite.
Exactly. Yep.
It's counter when you twist on the splines in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the nuts wasn't coming off, so I just had to cut the U-bolt. So
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think mine are going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we used the impact on my end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to get Bobcat rolling again for the most part. It's and I'm excited to get it out from in front of the shop.
Yeah.
I pulled it up in front of the shop so I could rip apart the T case, and now I can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hawk, my old hippies, came over the other day, and because he was bleeding his brakes because his brakes are spongy, and the previous owner sheared off the bleeder. So broke it in piece.
Okay.
And so he was like, I tried to use an easy out to get it out, but it was like, I felt like I was going to just break the easy out in there. And I was like, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for me to try these new bolt biter screw extractors.
Yeah.
And they worked great.
Worked perfectly.
They worked so good.
Nice.
Yeah. And the kit I have, it's a 10-piece kit, 5 extractors, 5 drill bits that match the extractor.
Oh, perfect.
Right. And brand new bit, and the bleeders are super soft material anyway, so it was cutting butter, so I drilled it in, and then tapped the extractor in, and then the extractors are for 1/4-inch impacts. So I just put my Makita on there, pulled it away. It took it a second, but then spun all the way out.
Nice.
And then it came because I was just full bore, tried to get it out, and so it came all the way out. So that I put my thumb over the bleeding hole, right. And he's like, did it work? I'm like, yeah, you got that other bleeder because
we got to put it in.
Yeah, I'm holding the fluid in, I need to put it in. We need to, and he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, here you go. But yeah.
I thought you were going to say, oh no, I don't have one yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, well, screwed. But yeah, it worked great. It was actually a little tough to get the broken bit off of the extractor part because it was so well dug in. Yeah, it did such a great job.
Yeah.
But I left the bit in the drill and then took a little small hammer and just tapped the broken screw part off, and it came off, but it wouldn't come off by hand because it had dug itself in so well.
So how are those different from easy outs?
Well, so the only easy outs I have are you screw it in, you drill it out a little bit. And then I have this one that is you screw it in and then you tighten down a little nut to the thing. So it pinches it.
It pinches it and it spreads out. I think.
Yeah. Kind of spreads out the screw head. And then you turn your drill into reverse. And then you hope that it holds on and spins itself out.
Yep.
That's the only ones I have. I know there's there's reverse drill bits also, kind of the same theory.
Yep.
But I really liked this one. I thought it worked great just because it did bite in so well.
Because that's always my issue with easy outs is that they don't bite. Especially on softer material or really small items, and then when they do bite, you end up snapping the easy out.
Yeah, and that's what he was scared of.
Yeah.
And he had similar ones to the ones that I have, where there's also a thread mechanism to it. You drill it in, you stick this thing in, it spreads itself. You tighten the nut down to the broken part, which spreads the load out of the bit. Yeah, and then hopefully you spin it out and it breaks itself loose and undoes the bit. Or undoes the screw. But yeah, I don't know. I felt so much like it was the fact that you drilled in and it was the right size bit. I don't know. I felt like it wasn't going to break.
That's the big thing that I wanted to get to is the extractors themselves are way beefier than regular easy outs.
Yeah, that's
or something you would get.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Is I think the overall sensation is I'm always scared I'm going to break the easy outs. But the bolt biter screw extractor, I wasn't really scared about it.
Yeah.
Like I was, and I told him, I said, worst case scenario, if we strip this thing, we'll just buy you another caliper.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And but I didn't I felt like we were going to strip the part more than the bit was going to break.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And, but it didn't. I mean, it didn't strip. It bit right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The extractors almost look like a reamer.
Kind of.
They look like a reamer, but instead of designed to cut thing out, they're designed to bite into stuff as they're pushed into whatever you're
grab, and then it would twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even, I didn't read the instructions or anything, but I'm not even sure you need to tap it in with a hammer. I think I just am so used to easy outs that that's the way you do it. Also on the T case, when I was pulling those apart, to pull out the ball detent and
ones,
the springs, those were so stripped out
as they always are,
that I put a the minus 9/16 bolt biter on it, and took those out that way. And that was the only way I was going to get those out.
I had to do that on mine as well. Both my T cases, I had to use the bolt biters to get those ball detents and the springs out. And
in regards to the T case housing, going backwards a little bit, I've had I posted that picture up on Instagram and some of the stories
and
with
everything.
The cracks. And I had a lot of people say, yep, run it. And I had a few people go, why risk it? Change it. And I had a few people, one person specifically say, sand it down. And if the crack goes deep, like deeper than just face, appearance, then change it out.
That makes sense.
So I haven't done that yet. That's on my list to do.
Okay.
I want to sand it down, and I want to see, like, if I continue to sand and the cracks continuing to go deeper, then I need to find another housing. But if I sand it down and it's only face value crack, then it's probably fine and I'll run it. Yeah. So
don't you have an extra T-case housing up in your shelves?
Probably. But I also have another transmission that was about there, and so those are supposed to go in Becky. So I don't know, like I could use it, but I'd be, what is the phrase? I'll be robbing from Peter to pay Paul or whatever. So because I don't know if I want to announce it, but I'm going to. I have this been thinking about Becky lately.
Bad danger. Back up.
I know.
You're not even like halfway done with Samantha.
Well, I'm not going to do it until I'm done with Samantha.
Okay.
And because of that, I don't know if this would ever happen. What I'm thinking about, but I'm thinking about buying a electric Prius and putting making Becky a fully electric truck.
Out of a Prius?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there EV Priuses? I thought they were all hybrids.
No, I think there's a fully electric one.
Okay. Nice.
And I just wanted to do that. If there is a fully electric one, the main thought was to try to keep it Toyota.
Yeah.
I know the easier route.
You should do a hydrogen cell then.
I know, right? That'd be badass.
Yeah.
But I know the easier route would probably do the Leaf because there seems to be a lot of people doing that conversion.
Yeah.
It's
still Nissan. It's Japanese.
I know. Yeah. So anyway, that at least that I want to try to keep some of those parts in regards to Becky, with the thought that I might put it together at one point in time or not.
Okay.
And then granted, I'm saying that and I'm like, well, I'll have a year or two, well, shit. I want to go to Sand Hollow this year, and I want to have Samantha done for Sand Hollow. Don't know if that's possible.
Trail Hero?
Trail Hero. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll still have plenty of time to source another T case regardless so, I mean, worst case scenario, I do grab that one, use it for the part, and then get another one for Becky in the long run. But I don't know. That's So, all
right.
But that's been the last 4 or 5 days since we recorded last.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Nice. So I didn't go to Overland Expo.
Shocker.
Oops.
Yeah. No, I knew that, but Yeah, it was just had a lot of stuff going on.
I had a lot of stuff going on. And I kind of did the calculation. I was like, I'm going to spend $2,000 to go down there. And I mean, yeah, I could have like walked around and done networking and stuff, but like there wasn't really a big major like point for me to be down there. Like there was no commitments I had to be down there. And I was like, I just don't feel like driving 15 hours, 16 hours and spending $2,000 to be down there for a day and a half, essentially.
Right.
So, yeah, I just ended up not going and worked on the 4Runner and went out to a shooting range instead, pretty much was my weekend.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
Because the 4Runner, I'm leading, we've talked a little bit about this, I'm leading a big trip on the Rubicon June 9th.
Right.
And I'm gone this weekend for Memorial Day. And I'm not going to be gone next weekend. I'm gone half of next weekend. I'm going out to Tennessee because Morphlate is going to be on a TV show.
I know. That's exciting news.
Yeah, Morphlate's going to be on
are you allowed to talk about it? Or is there
I didn't
NDA?
sign any NDAs. Yeah.
I didn't know if you were not allowed to talk about it until it airs.
Well, yeah, because it's not part of the show content, right? It's an advertising spot.
Okay.
And so it's going to be an advertising spot on Motorhead Garage.
One of the Motor Trend channels.
One of the Motor Trend
That's awesome.
TV
Congratulations.
shows. So I'm flying out next week to shoot the spot and check out the studio. And we're going to check out the Bristol Speedway.
Oh, cool.
The racetrack there. And so that'll be a fun trip, but that takes up half my weekend next weekend.
Yeah.
And then the Rubicon trip is the following weekend after that. So I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of time to work on the 4Runner, and it has to be done for this trip. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pass on Overland Expo, get a bunch of work done on the 4Runner because my to-do list for it to get it ready for the trip is essentially the whole rear suspension.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing that, I need to straighten my frame and add a cross member back there while I'm under there doing all that. And in order to then, I also want to put new bushings in because
right. Okay.
I don't know if you remember when we did the swap with my first gen 4Runner, Jacob's first gen 4Runner, and my second gen 4Runner, the Kermit. We went to put in the rear springs and redo the bushings, and it's like the bushings back there were some weird size in the shackle hangers.
Okay.
They are not Toyota bushings.
Okay.
And so you and I, we called Daystar, we called Poly Performance, we called a leaf spring manufacturer in Arizona. And like everybody's like, no, we don't list out any of our bushings based on sizing measurements. We measure them out based on their usage. And I was like, well, I don't know what this was because it's an aftermarket. It's a Chevy 63 spring on a Toyota 4Runner. But it's like the leaf spring shackle hanger is what it is. And I have no clue what that part is.
Yeah.
It's not a Chevy or a Toyota part.
So these are the bushings that are the shackle that go through the frame.
Yeah, essentially. Right. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I was like, they're not Toyota bushings. They're not Chevy 63 bushings. I don't know what else they would be. And so I was like, I have the measurements, and everybody's like, yeah, we have no way to search our database based on measurements. And I was like,
go get a caliper and go outside to your warehouse.
Right? And nobody wanted to do that for me. And so I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to run worn out bushings. I've been running them since we essentially did the build on Kermit.
Yeah.
And now that I'm redoing everything, I was like, okay, I'm on the hellbent mission now to find the correct bushings.
And how's that going?
It went great, actually. I found a place.
How'd you pull that off?
I don't know. I just did Google searching. I said, I need bushings, search bushings based on measurements or something like that. And this website came up, a company called White Line Racing Products, Line Products, something like that. And like, I don't know how Google knows where everything is on the internet, right? But like, I went to their website later after I found like they had this massive sizing chart with every single product SKU that they have, every part number that they carry in inventory. Okay. With all the measurements. So they have the outside diameter measurement, the inside diameter measurement, the length of the bushing, and then how thick the cap on the bushing is, right? Okay. The outside that goes on the exterior of whatever you have it on. Oh, okay. Yeah, you said that a little odd, but yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. So the outside of the bushing is usually taller than it's fatter. Yeah. Yeah. So because the shackle presses up against that, and then that
bigger section presses up against like your frame in this instance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, they had this big long chart. So I just took all the measurements off of my current bushings and then adjusted them down or up depending on inner or outer diameter because they're, worn in, and found a couple of options I think will be really good options. And ended up ordering up a set of one of them. So they'll be here today, I think.
Oh, interesting.
However,
I was curious if you could order one of like 4 or 5 versions.
No, they wouldn't
find
let you.
out.
You had to order full sets.
Dang.
But each set was like $30, 25, 30
Sure.
bucks. So, but what was interesting was I ended up getting away from that chart. And then I couldn't figure out how to find that chart again on their
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
I went through every single page on their website that I could have a link to and find. Couldn't find that chart again. So I had to go back to Google and search it to get back to that chart.
Wow.
On their website. So, it's White Line Racing Products, White Line Products, something like that.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, but they have a chart with a shit ton. I mean, there's 100, 150 part numbers on there with
That's awesome.
all of the dimensions for bushings.
That's awesome.
So
I'm
I was
glad
like,
somebody spent the time to do that.
right?
So that then for this exact case,
Yeah.
it's like I need to figure out a specific bushing because nobody else has done it.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool.
Yeah. So anyways, have the correct bushings coming in now. So once those are in, I'll be able to continue and finish up everything. But I was actually very impressed. I was able to straighten the frame, put a new cross member in it. And I just used some 2x3 inch square tubing.
Yeah.
It slides right into the frame rails, which is awesome.
It's great.
It's perfect. And so I essentially took the C channel and just took the cross member and put it so that the 3 was the height, and 2 was the width, and put it up into the C channel across and then welded it all in.
Yeah.
And it fit perfectly. And I was like,
How did
sweet.
you strengthen the frame?
What do you mean?
Well, your frame was twisted.
Yes.
How did you untwist it?
So I put, I cut off a smaller section of the square tubing, slid it into the frame, and then pulled it downward. So I heated up the frame with a propane torch and then pulled that downwards, cantilevered.
You with man muscle? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm strong,
You've
man.
been working out?
Muscles.
Yeah.
So anyways, straightened the frame using the excess square tubing, and then slid the cut to fit size square tubing in there, welded it all up, and it fit perfectly, and it should be now good for another 30 years, hopefully.
Yeah. That's more or less the way Bobcat's put together in the rear with the rear suspension. And it's pretty much the way I'm going to do Samantha as well.
It works. It's such a perfect little fit.
It's it's more or less a rear cross member.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just fills in that C channel area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the furthest back point. And for Bobcat and Samantha, when you end up bobbing the bed, it ends up being a rear bumper.
Yeah. Right.
It works great.
So anyways, I got that done, which was really like the big crux of like, man, how am I going to do this kind of thing? And that ended up being the easiest part of it all. I got my leaf springs taken off, your leaf spring taken off. I got the new leaf springs all set, ready to go. So I took the overload out. I ended up just getting the same thing, the Pro Comp leaf springs, because I'm like, they lasted 2.5 years with no bump stops and me really wearing them out. I only need them to last another 2 years before I link the rear end. So with bump stops, they should be just fine. I'm just going to get these again. I know they fit. I have everything, the axle set up. I have the fenders clearanced for the axle location on these. We'll just go back with these. So shout out to 4 Wheel Parts though.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
I did.
Seriously?
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Bite your tongue for a second.
Okay.
So I went and ordered up the leaf springs, right? And it says, hey, we'll call you when they're in. Never got a call from them. And so I after like a week. And so I was like, I called them. I was like, hey, just checking on an order. I haven't heard any confirmation. I just want to know, are they there? Are they not? If they're not there, what's our ETA? And they go, oh yeah, they're here. They've been here about 4 days. I was like, cool. Awesome. Thanks guys. And I was like, hey, I'm actually like, 7 to 8 minutes from you. I was at the warehouse here and it was like 5:50 at that time. I was like, I know you guys close at 6, but I'm just curious, if I came to pick up my order and I get there like 5:58, 5:59, can I pick up my leaf springs, or are you guys pretty much going to be shut down because you're like, everybody's out of there at 6? And they're like, oh no, you've got no chance in hell. We're all out of here by 6. I was like, Perfect.
Thank you.
Glad to know. Glad I assumed correctly.
Yep.
I'll be by in the morning. So, anyways, shout out to 4 Wheel Parts for keeping their business hours correct.
I'm now biting my tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to 4 Wheel Parts for not having any customer service.
Exactly. For keeping my expectations correct on your customer service.
Not calling when you said you would, holding my part there longer than I ever expected, and not being willing to fulfill an order and help somebody out.
Yeah.
To stay another 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, thank you. We're just keeping expectations clear here. I love it. Perfect. So anyways.
Yeah, sort of like my 5-star review.
Exactly. For your parking spot in Moab.
My parking spot in Moab.
Oh, man. Anyway, so I thought that was I was like, all right, whatever. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So anyways, I got the leaf springs, put all those, I got them all ready to go.
So are you going to keep the angled blocks underneath them this time or what?
The pinion correction angle, the pinion shims. I am. And so I took some measurements because we talked a little bit about that, I think on a last episode, and Carlos, Taco and Fab, messaged me. We got into a little bit of a conversation about just correcting the pinion angle and just doing it correctly. Cut off the perches, the leaf spring perches, and rotate them on the housing so I get the correct pinion angle. And then while I was sitting there looking at it all, I was like, I took some measurements. I need to rotate the axle at least 10 degrees.
Really?
So yeah, 10 to...
So that's 2 shims per side.
2 shims per side, exactly.
That's what I had on Bobcat. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about going down to 1 shim.
Yeah. So...
Because it's better to have... Because with axle wrap, which hopefully you completely eliminate with
the anti-wrap bar. Yeah.
But it's better to have the pinion a little low so that when you accelerate and you do get that wrap, it lines itself up instead of having it dead on when it's sitting there doing nothing.
And goes up.
Then when you accelerate, it goes into a bad angle.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting the shims on in order to lower the pinion.
Really?
Yep. So I'm reversing them from how they're normally set up.
Because your pinion's too high now?
Yep.
Oh. So is it already reversed? It's already... The axle that you currently have had the rotated the spring leaf spring mounts.
Yeah, it had the pinion set up to point directly at the T-case for a double cardan setup.
Oh, and you don't have
a double cardan
anymore.
Yep. So I need to rotate the pinion down anywhere between 9.8 degrees and 15 degrees essentially. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna. I was like, man, I should really just rotate the perches on this. But I started thinking about it. I was like, it's going to take me, I've got to cut all those off, grind it all down, clean it all up, rotate the axle, weld everything back on. I got to weld it on so I don't warp the housing or damage the housing or anything. I'm like, it's going to take me 3-4 hours, 5 hours of work to do.
Yeah.
When I'm just going to be getting rid of these axles in 4 months. Anyways.
Maybe, yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I'm kind of like, I'm just going to use the shims. I'm going to put the shims back on.
So... Are you getting another set of shims?
No, I had shims from the first set of leaf springs.
Got it. Okay.
So I've got 2 sets of shims, so 2 per side now, and that'll rotate the pinion down the 9 degrees, 10 degrees I need it to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to call it good, and that'll be fine. So that's what I'm doing there. So I was like, cool, I don't have to cut and rotate the perches. That'll save me a good chunk of time that I don't really have for getting ready for this Rubicon trip. So I still, after that, I essentially with the springs off, I put the axle to full bump. And so I started measuring for the bump stops, right?
Okay.
So I need 9-inch bump stops.
Whoa.
Yep.
Well, you have tall tires.
I have tall tires. The big thing is my shocks. My shocks are the big limiting factor.
Yeah.
So I've got
smaller shocks.
Well, that's the idea, but they're not in. I can't get them. So I was like, I've got to set it up for this trip. So I'm going to be setting up 9-inch bump stops so that my shocks are not my bump stops.
Are you going to get some Kongs?
No, I actually have the bump stops that are inside the coil springs of 2nd gen 4Runner third gen 4Runner rear suspensions. So it's a big kind of like, looks
cone.
like a big cone. Yeah. And those are 7-8 inches tall, something like that.
So you only need a little lift.
I only need a little bit. Yeah.
Or drop or whatever, however you're setting it up.
Essentially, I'm just going to set it up on a 2-inch square tubing. That way, because they'll compress a tiny bit, not a whole lot. But that way it gives enough. I think I'll have 10.5 inches total from the frame to the bottom of the cone.
And so are you going to set it up, not that it matters too much, but are you going to put the 2-inch spacer onto the frame and then the cone onto that spacer and then the cone's pointing down at the axle?
Yep, exactly. And then I'll have the cone going down into the leaf spring plates.
Right.
Yep. So that's how I'm going to set that up. I've got all that measured up and ready to go. I just need to get hardware for it. And then I need the bushings to put the leaf springs back on so that I know exactly where to weld everything on the frame so it contacts the leaf spring plates.
Right.
At full compression. So I got that. And then I also picked up the anti-wrap bar kit from Rough Stuff.
Yes.
And
no, you didn't actually.
Well, you picked it up, but I have it. And then so that just I need to create a mounting point on the frame side for that.
Yeah.
And then put all that together.
That's one of the things when I was talking to Hussman, I was going to have him come over and we're going to, because I think the way that the anti-wrap works is you need a mounting, you need to mount it to a cross member. And so I'm kind of curious how we would set that up in my rig because I don't really have a cross member back in that area. So, we're going to have to look at that.
Yeah. And so I don't really have a cross member there either.
You don't.
It's right next to my gas tank, essentially right in that area. Like in order to go up to the nearest cross member, I've got to go all the way up to the T case.
Yeah.
And that'll be, that's more than the DOM tubing I have available to reach that far. So I'm going to have to build not a cross member, but I think I'm gonna have to build essentially a box off of the frame.
Yeah.
That holds and houses the shackles for the anti-wrap bar.
Right. And I haven't dug too much into the theory or geometry of anti-wrap, but my guess is the hinge point on the top needs to be near the hinge point of your leaf spring.
Essentially.
Right. Because you want that to move the same as with your leaf springs. So
that's on a shackle. So you have quite a bit of play in the shackle.
Oh.
Whereas, your leaf spring, the front point is typically fixed on your rear leaf springs. Yeah. So your anti-wrap bar, the front of it is actually on a shackle.
Oh. Mine's different then.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, same theory.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Yours then you would need probably
mine goes to a Heim in the front.
I mean, you could still put that on a shackle. Build a shackle off the box.
Maybe
or something,
it needs it, but it was only and I haven't dug into mine. I don't know much about how it works or how it's set up. Hussman knows it because he knows the rig that it came off of. But the Heim is just some DOM 2 meat on the other side that comes off of it, and then it has the top bar and lower bar of the anti-wrap come to that Heim, and the Heim goes into it. So I'm not sure.
You have to have some sort of play there because on leaf springs, the axle moves backwards during compression.
True.
And if you have the whole anti-wrap bar solid with no way to move backwards and forwards, I need to figure out. I just need to figure that out, I guess. Yeah. And so that's what. I need to look into it. Yeah, and that's just one of the things I need to do. Yeah, right. So anyways, I'm looking at all the work I have ahead. I just really, in order to get back up and running at this point, I just need to do the bump stops for the Rubicon run.
Right.
It'd be nice to have the anti-wrap bar on for the Rubicon run, but it's not it's not a necessity, right? So we'll see if I end up getting that done or not.
Cool.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Even though we really haven't done a lot, we've been busy, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I know that we're a little long, but I wanted to ask you about Visor Down.
We're going to talk about that on Monday's episode.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Cool. We're going to talk about that on Monday's episode and a couple other fun topics for you guys. Some big announcements just happened regarding Pismo in Oceana Dunes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Visor Down and a couple other fun topics. So it'll be a mixture of topics on Monday, but should be a really kind of good education information for everybody. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Everybody stay safe out there. Kind of the official start to camping season. all of the El Dorado National Forest, all of the national forests in California are officially open from seasonal closures. So I believe that's all National Forest and BLM too.
Wow, cool.
So I think everything should be open right now from seasonal closures, like except Barrett Lake,
Of course.
and maybe Doozy. But yeah, everything else should be open, ready to go. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Kind of kick off the summer season here this weekend, and it's going to be a fun year, I think, for off-roading and OHV recreation.
All systems go!
Yeah, buddy. So if you guys have any feedback for us from this episode or past episodes, you can reach out. Man, we love hearing from everybody. You can reach out to us on iRate 4x4 in the Snail Trail 4x4 forum on there. You can call us and leave us a voicemail, 916-345-4744. Love hearing from you guys there and interacting with those voicemails. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Snail Trail 4x4 or 4x4 Toyota Tyler. Definitely go check out that leaf spring video and read through the comments. It's highly entertaining. And yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Make sure to leave us a review on iTunes, especially if you want to get in for the winch drawing when we hit 500 reviews. But leaving us a review definitely helps boost and promote the podcast on the platforms. And the more reviews and the more continuous reviews we get, the higher the algorithm rates us. And the more ears we get in front of. So.
Yeah. And the more ears we get in front of, the more fun things we get to do with different manufacturers and different vendors, such as partnering with Ironman 4x4 for a Delta Wing giveaway. I've heard there's talks about doing some more stuff in the future with them. And Gear Wrench, we have Tool Month coming up next month with the Gear Wrench, which is one of my favorite months of the year.
Absolutely.
Other than Tyler's month. And, getting to hang out with, different companies like Bun Trail Welder and getting to, chat around with Carnage and everybody else out there, Mob Armor and everybody who's been a part of the show. So, the more you guys tell about us to your friends, talk to your friends about us. That's what I'm looking for.
Like, where are you going?
The more you guys do that and get us in front of more ears, the more we get to do fun stuff for you guys. So definitely share the show with all your friends. Jimmy, do you have any final words for everybody?
Be fire safe this weekend. Please be fire safe.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
All right, so I got one for you, but I don't know if it's airable.
Okay, we'll we can't let Ryan be the judge of that, so we'll let somebody else figure that one out.
I got one for you.
Ready?
What is brown and rhymes with Snoop?
Stoop?
Dr. Dre.
That took me a minute to figure out. I got it. I like that one. That's pretty good. Okay.